Hello and welcome back to the continuing madness that is the Blackford Book Club. Episode 30 is also part 16 from my self-published book entitled The Spirit of Cricket, which I published in August of this year. And on page 212 you will find a chapter entitled Labuschagne Frustrates England as fourth test enters a final day. Saturday the 22nd of July 2023. England 592 all out, Australia 317 all out and 214 for 5, trailing by 61 runs. With heavy overnight rain leaving pools of water on the uncovered outfield in Manchester, any chance whatsoever of play today looked incredibly remote this morning. Reluctantly I turn once more to the radio institution that is Test Match Special, as their team of ex-players and commentary professionals are rather adept at filling the void of elongated weather delays, and for an hour I escaped a bleak looking Old Trafford for a bittersweet cricketing tale of one of their own, a king amongst princes and one of my favourite players of all time. Warne was just 52 years of age when life bowled him a devastating googly in March of last year. He may have ruined umpteen winter's mornings for me watching England have their arse handed to them by the monstrously good team of Australians that surrounded him, but you couldn't help but love the competitive spirit that poured forth from him, or the sheer love of the game he imbued into every stint behind the microphone in a post-cricket media career he was born to have. Life is a cruel mistress, but for an hour I laughed and smiled along at the stories of Warne I already knew, of cigarettes and alcohol, fast cars and fast living, and, according to ex-England captain Michael Warne, lasagna sandwiches as a Christmas Day meal. Saturday night footy was up next, more commonly known as Australian rules football, or the even more simpler Aussie rules. I distracted myself watching a game Warne adored, as whispers filtered through the matrix on a rainy Saturday morning, watching a live game of football from the other side of the world who are, let's face it, living in the future. That the incessant rain of Manchester had stopped. Golf at the Open Championship 40 or so miles away in Liverpool was being played in short sleeve shirts, and maybe, just maybe, the two premier sporting events of the year, being played just 40 miles apart over the same weekend, may escape any further wrath from the weather gods. An hour of links golf later and the whispers turned to shouts of sporting confirmation. Old Trafford was remarkably deemed fit for play, and at 2:45 p.m. England can begin their quest to take 6 Australian wickets in double quick time to force a deserved victory, take the Ashes series to a tantalising score of 2-2, and next week's final test match at the Oval now being a de facto one-off match to decide the fate for the smallest trophy of all in the grandest of all games. At 2:45 p.m. I was of course on my way to the cinema with my son to see Oppenheimer, and whilst Christopher Nolan's latest masterpiece was everything I hoped it would be, I returned to the glum news that rain had once again returned to Manchester, play for the day had officially ended, and one part of the Chuckle Brothers had scored a century for Australia. Starting the day on 113 for 4 and still trailing England's gargantuan first innings total of 592 by 162 runs, Australia desperately needed the innings of Marnus Labuschagne this afternoon. 44 not out overnight, the chirping larricking from Klerksdorp in South Africa added 67 valuable runs before falling just before the rain on the Nelson score of 111 to a juggling catch from Johnny Bairstow off the golden arm of Joe Root. The ex-England captain roared his delight as the TV umpire confirmed that Labuschagne had to depart, but this was the only wicket snagged by an England bowling unit now looking as tired, ragged and depleted as their Aussie fast bowling counterparts. While Labuschagne dispatched Root for 2 huge boundary sixes as he approached his century, batting partner Mitchell Marsh continued to play against his attacking instincts, playing the game and his emergency defensive role brilliantly, remaining 31 not out overnight from 107 balls received. Marsh started the day with just 1 from 27 balls, scored just 30 runs from 80 balls in the shortened period of play, and from the highlights I've seen, looks as solid as an oak tree. England, meanwhile, may be a bowler short should there be any play tomorrow. I finished my sporting day as I began it with Test Match Special, and tales were spun of an injury to Chris Wokes and fellow bowlers James Anderson, Stuart Broad and Mark Wood all looking jaded and ineffective. Captain Ben Stokes had to turn to the emergency and occasional off-spin of Joe Root, and whether by luck judgment, injury or weather conditions, Root grabbed what could still prove to be a vital wicket before the close of play. England still need 5 wickets for victory, but will they have the firepower to do so? Or will the English weather be the killjoy this series doesn't deserve? See you in the morning. And with a frog in my throat, which I now clear, I thank you as ever for watching. If you can support me in this charade, then there are links below, with also a link to my actual book itself, which I'm incredibly proud of. And I thank you, and I leave you once again in peace and in solidarity. And clearing my frog in my throat, I bid you farewell, and thanks for watching.